Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now, imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight to your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Visit Gemini.com/card today. Check out the link in the description for more information on rates and fees. Again, if you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
Hey, warmer from the low. Welcome to lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. We've got an excellent podcast for you. Might be the last podcast of the year, and William Boor of Action Network has been joining me all throughout the season. He is going to be joining me here in a few minutes. We're just going to do a two-part chat because we don't have any game to recap from Thursday since it was a travel day for both of these teams, but we're going to talk about how stunning it is that the Blue Jays enter in this game up by a count of 3-2. We're going to get his thoughts on Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Does he have a chance to be able to win World Series MVP? Does he deliver what we have been seeing from him all postseason long? How do we take a look at the entirety of the series? How do we take a look at Game 6? We're going to be breaking that down and so much more. Every betting angle possible for both Game 6 and the rest of the World Series is what we're going to be chatting about with William. And then in the final segment, I'm going to get you guys my picks and analysis for Game 6 of the World Series as we touch them all. If you do have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you have one of two ways we fire those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at @GUNet_81. Keep in mind, there's the name he does not matter. So as per usual, please send these into the timeline. And the other way is find an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it is very much appreciated. From there, you're able to fire on whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. And just a heads up, you might be getting a podcast tomorrow. You might not be getting a podcast tomorrow because, as I said, I'm with you guys every single day in which we've got games. If we've got a Game 7, I will be back with you guys tomorrow. So you can rest assured there. If we do not get a Game 7, well, unfortunately, that'll be the end of the season. And then we look forward to Coast to Coast Hoops, which I do keep the Coast to Coast Hoops podcast running throughout the offseason. Much harder with baseball because in college basketball, and Coast to Coast Hoops is all about college basketball, by the way, for those that do not know. It is part of the VSiN Family Podcast, much like this podcast, but I have a easier time being able to keep that going because there's 365 Division I college basketball teams with only 30 MLB teams and just not a lot going on. It makes it a little bit more difficult, so you do have to forgive me there. And those college basketball podcasts during the conference portion of the season where you get the 150 games, that would make it impossible to do any sort of other recording whatsoever. So that's why I don't keep this one going quite as much during the off season, but I wanted to do my best to keep this going every single day, even throughout the All-Star break for you guys, and I'm glad that I have been able to live up to that promise. And I mean, if this is the last podcast of the year, I will tell you right now, I am picking the Dodgers on the money line, so for the sake of my wallet, I hope that it's not the last game of the year, but if it is, I do thank you all for tuning in all the days, whether you're tuned into one or two podcasts, whether you're tuned into every single podcast every single day. You're the guys that really keep this thing going, and it is very much appreciated. And what else keeps this podcast going is great guests like William. He does such an amazing job over at Action Network. It's not just baseball with him as well. I know that he does a tremendous job on the college football front. If it's bettable in North America, they are able to give you something over there at Action Network. William is at the forefront of so much of it. You're able to follow him on Twitter/X at WBoor, the letter W, and then BOOR all together. And William, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.
Of course, Greg. Always happy to hop on and talk some baseball with you.
Absolutely. And William, we have guaranteed one game left, perhaps two games left. And just how have you taken a look at this series? Because I thought coming in that the Dodgers were a very rightful, sizable favorite. I thought that they were going to wrap this series up in 5 to 6 games. But here we are with the Blue Jays one game away from winning the World Series, thanks to a rookie stepping up and winning 2 of those games.
I'm with you. I'm surprised. The Blue Jays obviously are good. We knew it wasn't necessarily going to be easy, but I thought the Dodgers were going to win just like you. I know we are obviously not alone in that thought process. Even when Toronto took game 1, it was like, okay, cool. That's kind of interesting, but still probably Dodgers in 6. The fact that Toronto got 2 games in LA is really surprising. It makes this really intriguing. And I think game 5, midway through that game, that was actually the first time that I actually thought, oh, wait, Toronto might actually win this series. Up until then, even when Toronto was up 1-0 and when it was tied 2-2, my mind was all Dodgers, Dodgers, Dodgers. And then about halfway through that game was the first time I was like, oh, what if Toronto does pull this out?
Yep, I'm thinking the exact same thing. And we talk about how great the Toronto offense has been. How about if we look at the flip side, though? Because I really think the story of the series as to why the Dodgers have not been able to get the job done has been really their lack of offense. And it just feels like they're waiting for Shohei Ohtani to hit a home run. And that's really all they've gotten in this series.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think if we went into this series, the obvious weakness was the Dodgers bullpen. And obviously they, put up a bunch of zeros in an 18-inning game the other night. They did give up 3 runs in the 7th and 8th in game 5, but that's not necessarily why they lost. You look at that game 5 and the Dodgers scored 1 run. The Dodgers, the team with Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Will Smith, like all these names that everyone's heard of, scored 1 run at home in a chance to go up 3-2 in the series. Like that can't happen. And that's not the only time that this offense has underwhelmed this series. You're right. It does seem like, hey, let's just hang out and wait till Ohtani does something, which frankly, throughout October or throughout this World Series, he has done something, but that can't be your only offensive weapon. I think this Dodgers offense has really underwhelmed. I mean, all credit to Toronto's pitching staff, but I'm with you. It's definitely been the story of the series, and it's definitely been incredibly surprising.
Yep, it certainly has been. As William Boor does such great work over at Action Network, he's joining me on the Baseball Betting Show, and all of this leaves us with a do-or-die game for the LA Dodgers, as they're going to be trotting out there a guy who, if you need one guy to win a game right now on the face of planet Earth, he might be that guy, in Yoshinobu Yamamoto, because each of his last 2 times out, both were on the road, by the way, he's throwing a complete game right now with the Dodgers. In a lot of places, you're going to be finding them right in that neighborhood, about a minus 140 or so favorite. How do you take a look at this game? Because you've got Kevin Gausman on the flip side, and for the Dodgers, this is really the guy that you'd want in this sort of spot.
Yeah, for the Dodgers, I mean, you obviously want Yamamoto on the mound. He is absolutely lights out right now. He's throwing complete games in his past 2 starts. So his past 2 starts, we got 2 runs, 18 innings pitched. That's ridiculous. So I have no doubts about him. But the thing is, we just talked about, the Dodgers offense. Gausman didn't look great earlier in this series with the 3 runs over 6 innings, but it's not necessarily bad either. Overall, like he's been pretty good this postseason. So to me, it's a matter of, do you think the Dodgers are going to score? Does their offense finally do something? And that's probably how you handicap this game if you're just looking at, game 6 in a vacuum. I think when we get later on in the series, betting, you also have to think about like maybe if you have futures and where you're at on that. But if we're talking game 6 in a vacuum, to me, it's probably Dodgers or nothing.
And you joined me on this podcast, I think it was probably about 5 to 6 days ago. I'm not sure the exact date, but I remember you were talking about it because the last time we were talking, it was going into game 2, going into Yoshinobu Yamamoto start. You were saying, hey, if Yamamoto has another big performance, there might be a little bit of value on him to win World Series MVP. A lot of places have him in that neighborhood of 15-1, and I look at this, and is it a shoo-in that he's going to win MVP, even if he has an amazing performance? No, but I just look at that number right now, and I think that there's tons of value on that going into game 6.
Yeah, I'm with you. You're right, because Ohtani's obviously still out there, or just, he can throw a gem in game 6 and the Blue Jays could obviously then still win game 7. But if you've got someone at 15-1, or I think it was 30-1 or something when I gave it out before game 2, he's already got a 1-run complete game, 8 strikeout performance in the bag. If he throws another, I'm not going to say another complete game because that's just ridiculous. But if he throws 7 innings of 1 run, and now you've got someone who's made 2 starts, has 2 wins, has pitched 16 innings with giving up 1 run and probably struck out 15 or 16. I mean, that's a heck of a ticket to be holding going into game 7 for sure.
Oh, I'm right there with you, and that's one of those where you sort of just roll the dice and whatever happens, happens, because if you've got that at north of 10-1, because that was 10-1 going into game number 6, or game number 5, if I'm not mistaken. You should be feeling relatively good about that. So we shall see what is going to be happening on that front. And with regards to what is going to be happening on game number 6, how do you just take a look at the game as a whole? Because I do think that this is going to be a game of intrigue. I think that Kevin Gausman is going to be able to give a nice performance, but I think it goes back to what I've been taking a look at the entire series. If you like the LA Dodgers, it bodes a little bit better to the under. If you like the Blue Jays, it bodes a little bit better to the over.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because of Yamamoto on the mound and their roster, I think if I was going to make a moneyline bet on this game, it would be the Dodgers. And then conversely, if you told me, hey, you can only bet a total on this game, I'm betting the under, because right now I don't have faith in the Dodgers to explode for 8 runs. And with Yamamoto throwing the way he is, I don't have a ton of faith in the Blue Jays to score a ton of runs either. So to me, it's Dodgers and under or pass or something like that. But like that's the money line I like, and that's the side of the total I like for sure.
Yep, I'm right there with you on that front. And William, when it comes to this World Series, is there anything else that you might be willing to bet, whether that be a prop, whether that be just something for the entirety of the rest of the series, which obviously very, very short, but is there anything else out there, or is this pretty much a let the chips fall as it may sort of situation for you?
I think this is kind of a let the chips fall where they may. I might end up being on the total in game 6. I have a future on the Dodgers, so I'm probably not going to play the Dodgers money line in game 6. I'm not necessarily going to hedge it until game 7 if there is a game 7, but that probably makes game 6 a pass for me because I wouldn't want to lose the money line and the future just in one game. That seems annoying. But I think having the future out there that I'll possibly hedge, having the Yamamoto MVP ticket, which is also, something that I need game 7 for. So game 6 is interesting for me, but probably not a lot of action on the table.
Yep, I don't blame you there, and it is one of those situations where you're in a 1 to 2 game scenario. It's just really hard to get too creative with it, but William, I know that you've joined me all throughout the year on this baseball podcast. You've joined me the last few years, and I've always done an absolutely amazing job. Let the good people at home know it's all in that for you, and how people can follow on social media and other platforms, because with you, it's much more than just baseball.
Exactly, much, much more. You can follow me on Twitter at WBoor, WBOOR, or follow me in the Action Network app at William Boor _, all one word. As Greg mentioned, much more than baseball. There's bets for pretty much every sport in my profile there. Then we've also got everything on actionnetwork.com. We've got obviously a big weekend of college football and NFL coming up. We've got NBA stuff all the time. And I know Greg's a big fan. We've got obviously college basketball coming up next week as well.
Yes, we are about a week and a half away from random games in Hawaii. That first Hawaiian game is against East Texas A&M, November 10th. Guess who set their calendar for that? Yep, you know it, but that is going to be getting going in the next few days, and William, he does a great job on so many different fronts, and every single time he joins me, one's amazing insight. So, big thanks to William for joining me on the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the VSiN Family podcast. Coming next, it is that time of the podcast. I give you picks and analysis for Game 6 of the World Series as we touch them all.
Are you interested in effortlessly growing your Bitcoin portfolio? I sure am. The Bitcoin credit card by Gemini earns you Bitcoin back on every purchase. Use it like any credit card. Buy lunch, gas, or your weekly groceries, and you'll earn up to 4% back instantly in Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos straight to your account. All that with no annual fee, and right now you can grab a $200 Bitcoin welcome bonus. It's the easiest way to start building your Bitcoin stack. Go to Gemini.com/card to learn more. Terms apply. See the link in the description for more information regarding rates and fees.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family podcast. Always great to be joined by William Boor, who does such great work over at Action Network. Taking a look at this great game that we all know and love of baseball. Every single time he joins me, he lends such great insights, and he did so once again today. So a big thanks to William for joining me in the last segment. Now it is that time of the podcast. I give you picks and analysis for Game 6 of the World Series as we touch them all.
If a game is listed on the betting board, Greg has a side and a total on it, so it is time to touch them all.
Do note that, as per usual, any changes that are made to these plays will be listed up on my Twitter/X feed at @GUnit_81. If we have any changes here, that'd be quite a surprise, considering we've only got one game on the board. Could be the last game of the year. We might get one more after this. We shall see, and for my sake, I'm hoping that we do get a Game 7, as it's 9-31, 9-32 on the card. The Dodgers on the road against the Blue Jays. Kevin Gausman goes for the Jays. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is on the bump for the Dodgers. Dodgers between -137 to -152 favorites, and between +124 to a +130 is that number on Toronto. 7.5 is the total. Over and under anywhere between -105 to a -115, and I'm going to be siding with the under in this ordeal. I did set my total at a 6.7. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, just absolutely amazing what we've seen out of him in his last two starts, back-to-back complete games. And I don't know if it's going to affect him or not, but he was warming up in that game number 3 as well. Guy has just been an absolute warrior in those two complete games. They both came on the road against the Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers, respectively, and he's given up a combined 5 earned runs over the course of his last 5 starts, so he has been steady Eddie there overall for the season, getting in that neighborhood about 10.1 strikeouts per 9 innings. But what really is striking to me about Yoshinobu Yamamoto is that he's actually been better on the road than anywhere else as far this season. As you take a look at the regular season and the postseason, he's got a 1.96 ERA on the road with less than 0.6 home runs allowed per 9 innings. And Kevin Gausman enters in relatively good form as well. Recognize they gave up 3 runs in game number 2, but still, 15 out of his last 21 starts, he has given up 2 earned runs or fewer between the regular season and the postseason. A 3.47 ERA, 8.6 strikeouts, and 2.4 walks per 9 innings. Now, here in the playoffs, he is getting less than 7 strikeouts per 9 innings, but he does go up against a Dodgers lineup that really has been lackluster. We have been talking about it with our good friend William Boor of Action Network. Just in this playoffs, it's been a lot of guys not named Shohei Ohtani that have not gotten the job done. Andy Paz has been absolutely miserable here in the playoffs, giving you less than a 200 on base. Alex Call's actually done a great job of moving the line. He's hitting above a 300 here in the postseason. And Teoscar Hernandez, during the regular season, wasn't doing a great job of getting on base. He get 286 here in the playoffs. He's got 4 postseason home runs. Freddie Freeman had that big bomb in game number 3 that ended it, but even he's hitting just a 237 here in the playoffs. Mookie Betts right in that neighborhood as well. So you've had quite a few of these guys be just struggling. Max Muncy hitting below the middle sign 200, even though he does have a 340 on base. It's really been Shohei Ohtani who's been able to deliver, as he actually got off to a little bit of a slow start in the playoffs, but ever since the series shifted to playing against the Blue Jays here in the World Series, he has been in rarefied air. He's been able to supply now 8 home runs here in the postseason. And for the Blue Jays, regular season and postseason, averaging more than 5.5 runs per game ever since the All-Star break. That's number 1 in all of baseball. Vlad Guerrero Jr. had 23 home runs during the regular season. He's got 8 here in the playoffs, and in the playoffs hitting above a 400. And Ernie Clement is just behind him, hitting a 391 here in the postseason. Addison Barger, he knows about hitting big home runs in Toronto. Had that grand slam in game number 1. Bo Bichette has come off of injury. He's hitting above a 300. Really, guys not named Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and Davis Schneider has been a little bit hit or miss as well, but even Schneider's giving you about a 350 on base. Batting average has honestly been there, but his on base has been rock solid. But really, other than Kiner-Falefa, all these guys have been pretty rock solid in terms of finding a way to move the line, get on base. But I do think that for Yamamoto, he's just on another level. He might be the most dominant pitcher on the planet that is currently going as of right now with the way that he has thrown back-to-back complete games, and that's big because with this Dodgers bullpen, the likes of a Jack Dreyer have been rock solid in the bullpen. Alex Vesia was as well, but he's been dealing with injury, so that's a little bit of an issue. And you should have a fully rested Roki Sasaki that is going to be able to help you out. He really hasn't thrown, I think, at all here in this series, so that's a little bit of a break for this team. Emmett Sheehan is a guy that you're able to look to if Yamamoto does not have it. That's able to give you a little bit of length. And on the flip side for the Blue Jays, Jeff Hoffman, after he had a miserable regular season, he's actually been very rock solid here in the playoffs, posting up a sub 125 ERA. But after that, you do have some question marks. Anthony Dominguez, you don't know what you're going to be able to get out of him. Braden Fisher, Brandon Little, these guys have been a little bit rough as well. I do think that the Dodgers lineup is able to wake up a little bit more, and I do think that a Game 7 is forced. I've got the Dodgers on the money line. I'm willing to lay up to a minus 142 and make my total 6.7. I'm also in on the under, and that'll wrap things up for the Friday edition of the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the VSiN family of podcasts. A big thanks to William Boor of Action Network for joining me in the last segment. If you do like liked hearing from this fine podcast, Baseball Betting Show, you're able to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. If you have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you have one of two ways we fire those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at gunit_81. Keep in mind, letters CM, naming does not matter, so as per usual, please do send these into the timeline. And the other way is find an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it is very much appreciated. From there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. I am with you guys until a world champion is crowned, so this actually might be the last podcast of the year if we don't get a game number 7. If we do get a game number 7, though, I will be back with you guys once again tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now, imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight to your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Visit Gemini.com/card today. Check out the link in the description for more information on rates and fees. Again, if you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.